before I start, I quickly want to clarify, I am not a blogger for MTV Roadies anymore. Okay, I need to tell you guys that because what I'm going to say today, which is this, is going to be completely invalid if I was still working with Roadies. You know, it would be called, I would be speaking at TEDxIrony if that was, if I was still with Roadies in some way or the other. You know, I mean, I want to start by talking about a little story. I'm a storyteller primarily, so I want to tell you a little story about something that happened with me a few years ago. I'd gone to Egypt for a work trip, and on the last day of the trip, I decided to have a little bit of fun. So I went. My idea of fun was buying souvenirs for my family. Okay, so I went to a souvenir shop. There was this very nice, pleasant man there called Ahmed, who I mean, I bought a bunch of stuff from him, and he seemed to like me for some reason. So he said that, you know, you've been buying so many things for your family. I think you're a nice person. I would like to take you out to a nightclub, and I will show you belly dancing. He didn't mean his belly dancing. He meant like legitimate female belly dancing. I said politely, very nicely, thank you. I mean, I'll think about it. And then just before I was leaving, he told me something which should have been strike one for me. He told me, you know, have a good time in Egypt, but don't trust anyone. That's what he told me. And that should have been strike one, right? But no, I mean, I was little, I mean, I was young, I think, or younger at that time. When I went back to the hotel, I really thought about it. Now, the thing with me is I was a very boring person at that point of time. When I was boring, as in the wildest thing I'd done in my life was spike my hair. And that was because my mother told me one day that you're not cool. So I said, okay, I'm going to spike my hair. So I decided to be wild in Egypt. And I called up Ahmed and said, you know what, I'd love to come with you. Strike two should have been when Ahmed turned up with like this really shady car, you know, where I mean, it was like a death trap. I was about to get inside it and I thought that, okay, what is happening? Strike three should have been when he couldn't find his nightclub. He was taking me into all these gullies and he was like, I mean, it's here. It was here. I said, it's your nightclub. How do you not know where it is? I mean, at that point of time, I'd pretty much realized that I'm going to die today. And that is possibly the best case scenario to what could have happened to me with this man in this strange city. But I didn't escape because, you know, I mean, A, I didn't know where I could go because I was with him. And B, because I wanted to see how this plays out. I wanted to know what his end game was. You know, what was the catch? Why was this guy taking me to a nightclub? We finally reached a nightclub. Ahmed got drunk, he got loud, he got emotional, and I still didn't understand what he wanted. On the way back home, and yes, I was going home, which was, I mean, a great pleasant surprise for me. On the way back home, Ahmed started he started almost crying, he started talking about his family, and started talking about how poor he was, and how you know, I mean, he wanted to afford, I mean, he was working so hard because he wanted to afford a good life for his family. Now, a guy who's owned a nightclub, you know, I mean, saying he's poor, so I realized, okay, that's the catch. He wants money from me, right? So I mean, for the rest of the conversation, I was sort of turned off, and I just started thinking, how much should I give him? What is the correct amount? What is the appropriate amount? And I started thinking about it. What do I do? And when he finally reached back to the hotel, I took out my wallet very awkwardly, tried to offer him something, and Ahmed was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I mean, you are poor. I mean, you just cried in front of me. What do you mean?" He's like, no. I said, what happened? He's like, I wanted to hang out with you because, I mean, you're a kind person. I like that. I thought that here's a guy who's buying something for his entire family and not for himself. I don't see people like that. People come out to buy stuff for themselves. And I was like, all right, okay, this is awkward, but thanks, Ahmed, that's really nice of you. And he just told me that, you know, I mean, all I want from you is I mean, if you can stay friends. And Ahmed left. I came back to the hotel that night and I couldn't sleep, you know, because I realized that in that story, you know, I mean, I was kind of thinking the whole time that Ahmed was the asshole, and I realized later that I was the asshole and Ahmed was a kind man. And that's really what I want to talk about today. You know, I mean, this is a really nice quote by George Saunders, who's a very famous American writer, who said that his regret in life is the failure of kindness. You know, and I've always felt that too. I mean, that moment particularly put that in front of me. Before I get into why kindness and why I want to talk about this topic, I want to give you two statistics because I've seen a lot of TEDx talks, especially yesterday night, because I'm an engineer and that's what I do. So I realized that statistics are a really cool thing. So I'm going to give you two. Statistic number one, there's something called the World Giving Index, which ranks 130 countries on how kind they are. India ranks number 23, behind Iraq, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. I mean, the joke plays out itself. You know, these countries have nothing to give, and we are behind them. And the statistic number 2, which is a really scientifically true statistic, is that if you're kind and if you are not an asshole, the chances of you getting rich, getting famous, and getting laid are 100%. That's a statistic I've just made up, but it's true. It's true. It's come from my life. Okay, not the last part, not the getting laid part, not the rich part, clearly not the famous part, but I mean that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say over here is that forget the scientific part. I think there's a theory that I really believe in, and that's a theory that I have 12 more minutes to sort of make you believe in. The theory is very simple. I think the universe will work for you if you're kind. How do I know that? I think there's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to start talking about kindness in a very specific manner, which is a little different from what is perceived as kindness, which is being nice. Nice is a very different thing from being kind. Nice is, gulab jamun is nice. Naveen Kasturiya's hair is nice. The stage is nice. But when I say kind, I mean compassion. I mean caring. I mean feeling something. I mean giving a shit. I find it very strange. In fact, I'm appalled. Like, I find it so strong. I feel so strongly about this that I've used the word like appalled. I'm appalled that we have become a generation that doesn't give a shit. It's cool to not give a shit. I don't understand how that works, because I'll give you some perspective. Imagine Thomas Edison. Imagine when he was figuring out the light bulb and he failed one time and he was like, I don't give a shit. Why should I do this anymore? He wouldn't have light. Imagine if Alexander Graham Bell, when he was trying to figure out what the telephone was, he's like, why should I do this? It's for people. Why should I connect people? People are stupid. I don't give a shit. We wouldn't have everything that has ruined our life today, which is the telephone. Imagine, this is a horrifying thing. Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg did not give a shit. How would you then share all the pictures of all these African boys and poor childs that you think that sharing them is going to be really kind and charitable? How will that ever happen? But that's what I'm trying to say. If that generation before us, which is possibly the first generation that ever existed, if they didn't give a shit, we wouldn't have the generation. We'd still be half apes, which is possibly a better thing to be than being what we are right now, which is assholes. I'll tell you how we are assholes. We are the species that basically when we're in an elevator and then someone's trying to come in, we quickly switch the elevator off so that they can't come in. We are the kind of people who are walking on the road and irrespective of whether there are cars or no cars, we walk on the road like Iron Man and say, stop. We are the kind of people, and when we're in a car, that's even worse. Oh my God, we are the worst kind of people when we're in a car. In a traffic jam, we'll honk and honk and honk at the next person as if he has created the traffic jam. When we're in a car, if someone tries to overtake us, tu janta nahi mera baap kaun hai. So this is, we can park in the middle of anywhere, we pee, we litter, we on the streets, we spit on the streets. What have we become? We are the kind of people who are going to kill each other trying to just get in first in the metro train. What about queues? That's what makes us human. That's what makes us separate from animals. But that's the kind of people we have become. We have become assholes, and it's a tragedy, because I really do believe that there's something really nice about being kind. I really think that if you're not assholes, it's going to really help us. It is going to make us happy. I'll tell you how. I'm going to go into another story a little in a very short while. But before that, I just want to tell you that I really do believe that everything that we believe that makes the world a better place, that makes the world a happier place, can be linked back to kindness. In our world particularly. Think about your parents. Why do we love our parents? Money, some of us, sure. Biology, I got great looks from my parents, sure. But the reason we really love our parents is because they're kind to us. From the day we were born. That's why we love our parents. So why do we have BFFs? What is this thing about BFFs? Why do we love our BFFs? Because when we're down and out, there's a kind word coming from the best friend is what really cheers us up. We love them because they're kind. Why do we have better halves? Because our better halves are people who love us even though they know who we are. They're kind to us even then. So kindness is actually something that we seek out in people. The reason we love people is because they're kind to us. And you think about it, everything can go back to kindness. Religion, for example, think about any religion, right? What is the core philosophy of any religion? The deepest core philosophy, it's about kindness, when you really think about it. Dalai Lama himself said his religion is kindness. And just imagine a world where the religion was just kindness and everybody was kind. Just imagine that world for a second. There would be no left wing versus right wing, because people would be kind enough to let other people have their own opinions. There would be no straight versus homosexual, because people would be kind enough to let people make their own decisions. There would be no bans, because people would be kind enough to let people have their own lives and live it the way they want it to be, the world would be such a truly, truly, really better place. I also believe in the kindness as in a context of spirituality. I believe in energy. I think that, if you're kind and you're good, I think it begets kindness. There's a circle of kindness that gets created. I want to tell you that's other story that I was talking about. I went to not Egypt. I went to Turkey. I travel a lot, so I went to Turkey, and it was a layover. I decided to. It was very stupid of us, but we thought that we have 5 hours. Let's just go out and see one thing of Turkey. And it was me traveling with my younger brother. This was the start of a Europe trip that we are going for. We're planning to visit some 5-6 countries. I told my brother that since he's younger, which clearly means he's not responsible, I'm going to hold the passports. And he said, sure. So we went in the taxi, and we reached somewhere. And my father called me and said, listen, taxi cab drivers in Turkey are scamsters. Huh? So just be very careful. This is the exchange rate. Make sure that you give them exactly what an exchange rate. They'll ask for more, but just make sure you don't. I asked him what it cost. He told me the amount. I calculated, and it's actually lesser than what it was supposed to be. So I told this man, I said, I think you've got it lesser. Let me give you the correct amount. And because, here is the correct amount. So I gave him a couple of dollars more. And then I got out of the cab and I realized that I forgot my passport in the cab. The start of our Euro trip, after telling my brother, and I clearly bought a bag, a particular bag. I said, you know what, I'm going to have a bag for our passports because that's how cool I am. And then I forgot that bag, which also had my iPad, which also had foreign exchange, which also had a lot of other stuff. And I forgot it in the cab that just left. And I was in a strange country. We called the police. The police said, I don't know what to do. You lost your passport. I'm like, you are the police. Please figure it out. And there was a bunch of things that happened. It's a funny story, but we don't have time. So I'm just going to get to the end of it. After 3 hours, 4 hours of frantic search, I got a call from the place I'd given my number to the place where the cab dropped us. They called me and said, the cab driver has come back. And he's calling you. I went back there, and the cab driver was like, here's your stuff. I said, did you open it? He's like, yeah, I opened it. There's a bunch of stuff, and that's why I thought he'll give it back to you. I said, that's really nice of you. That's so sweet of you. He's like, you were nice to me. So I'm nice to you. And nice again is in this context is kind. And I realized that kindness is infectious. Kindness is something that if it's very simple things. There's something, I also researched this because it's TEDx, and there's something called helper's high. That there feel good endorphins that get released in your body if you're helping someone. You actually become happier scientifically, and this is not my science. This is true science. Scientifically, become happier if you're doing something nice for someone. If you're doing something kind for someone. There's it can be very simple things. When I say kindness is infectious. My mother travels, because my mother stays in Bahrain, and she travels to India, and she has these heavy baggages, as all mothers have when they travel. They have these big luggages, and she's always told me that every time she's carrying these big bags, there's always some kind boy or girl who offers her to carry her luggage. I find that so sweet. So every time now I see an older woman who's trying to carry her luggage, I decide to help that because someone's helping my mother. I should also do it. So clearly it's a very positive thing. It's something that really makes us happy. Then why are we unkind? I think it has something to do with social media. I think it has something to do with the internet. I think it has something to do with the technology. I think it's very strange, but I really do believe that the more connected we get, the more disconnected we get. I think we just think of people on the internet as words. We don't think of them as people with real emotions, the loudest, the meanest person on the internet gets the most retweets. The snarkiest person on the internet gets the most likes. The biggest asshole on the internet has the biggest fan club. I find that just horrible as, why have we turned into a species of mean-spirited bullies? Why has that happened? What enjoyment do we get by putting somebody else down? Who are we to judge how other people should lead their lives? That's how they should do. All we can do I'll give an example, a very simple example. I saw recently a Delhi cop who was drunk. His photo got shared a lot, and people said a lot of horrible things about him in that photo. I found it, I never shared that photo because I don't know who that man is. What if his wife had died that day? What if he was drunk because of that? I don't know. Maybe he was a bad cop. Maybe that's how simple it was. But I can't jump to that conclusion based on one photo. I was kind enough not to do that. And I wish that everybody else was kind enough to also think that way. I think there's also a socio-economic problem here. Yes, I'm doing a talk where I spoke about roadies in the beginning, and I'm talking about socio-economic angles right now. But there is a socio-economic thing over here. I think what happens is if you're bullies online, if you're mean online, it also carries out into our real lives, which is offline lives. And where it translates to is to the weaker people. Weaker, when I say, I mean people who we think are weaker than us, people who are lesser privileged than us. Think about it a second again. Zara, when you go to a Zara, when you go to a Armani, and you're buying something which is worth 10,000 rupees, Do you haggle with the sales clerk for discounts? I don't think you do. But when you're with a vegetable vendor and you're buying something for 25 rupees, you are going to kill that man for a 5 rupees discount. Don't you do that? I mean, I find it so strange that, you know, when someone comes to a house to deliver food in hot weather, in cold weather, we're not happy to give tips, but we're okay with paying 30% service charges at restaurants where you're eating food for 2,000 rupees. How does that make sense? You know how that translates back to us and our lives? The auto driver who refuses to give you, who refuses to apply and refuses to take you from one place to another. You know, the guy who steals from your house a little bit. You know, the waiter who takes his own time to get you, get you your refreshments. The reason why we are to blame for that. There is absolutely nobody else, because we have created a culture where a lesser privileged person feels ashamed and humiliated of being lesser privileged, because we as a culture, especially in a city like this where the class divide is very obvious, we as a culture make them feel that way. We as a culture make them feel that they're inferior to us. You know, and this translates in very angry ways as well, because when you see crimes happening in Delhi, you know, it's not just crimes, and I'm saying Delhi because I'm standing here, but crimes in India particularly also are not just crimes that happen they're not small crimes, they're always violent crimes. They come from anger, because those are the circumstances we have created for those crimes to happen. You know, so I just think, think about it, it's really simple, you know. I don't understand why, being kind is just it's not that we don't have time to be kind. That's such a shitty excuse to give, right? I'm so busy in my life that I don't have that time to be kind. You can be kind, it's really that simple. I think what the problem is happening with this generation is that the generation thinks that it's uncool to be kind. And I'm going to prove you wrong, because I think in my life, I think the reason I've ticked off some check boxes to be standing here, I think I've been successful in my life only and only because I was kind. Well, of course, the hard work would have had something to do with it, but I genuinely feel it's because I don't network with people. I genuinely feel I make friends. I'm kind to people, and people like having kind people around them because they make them feel good about themselves. So I'm going to end this by telling you something very, very simple again. Please be kind. When I say you be kind, I'm not asking you to donate your kidneys. Okay, I'm not asking you to go and be charitable and give all your money to someone poor on the street. Say a simple thank you to people. You know, say thank you to someone offering a service. Ask the names of the people offering you service. Nobody likes to be called watchman, driver. You know, people want to be called by their names. Find out their names. Say, smile at people for no reason at all. It's not going to hurt you at all. I send thank you mails to people at the end of every year. That's just me. But I send thank you mails to people because I think people who are kind to me deserve the acknowledgement that, you know, you were kind to me, so thank you for that. You know, and I think if you just do these little things, like holding a door open for someone, you know, if you do these kind of little things, I think it will really make this world a better place. I would really think that there are enough assholes in this world. Please don't be another one. Thank you.